Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Chalk Talk here on the DK Pittsburgh Sports Steelers YouTube channel and DKPittsburghSports.com. Going to do Chalk Talk a little bit different today. We're still going to look at some plays, still going to draw them up, see what all played out here, but really going to urge you to go, if you're watching this solely on YouTube, I really urge you to go to DKPittsburghSports.com, find this article. I will put the link in the description, and really pay attention to the data, because there's way more data in this than I'm going to be like in the article version of this that I can really list here. Najee Harris, coming off 3 straight 100-yard games, trying to figure out why, was digging into some of the data. And I can tell you right now that the way that this has gone, 1.15 yards before contact per attempt in the first 5 weeks of the season. It's been more than double that over the past 3 games. So part of that is Najee, but part of that is the offensive line. So let's look at some examples here of the offensive line's blocking, Najee's decision-making, Najee's burst. It's all here. This first play right here, let's look. Najee Harris, the Steelers are running inside zone here. Nice little cut. Gets through, accelerates through the hole, gets a nice gain early on. Okay, so what's going on here? Again, this is inside zone. Inside zone typically starts off with a double team here. Dan Moore is going to get this guy. McCormick's going to get this guy. Broderick Jones is going to get this guy. And then McCollum, the center here, is going to work up to this linebacker. Well, he doesn't have to work up to that linebacker because this linebacker is going to come and shoot that gap. So then McCollum instead has to double here and quickly get off that block and pick up the guy rushing. So at that point, Najee is then in a one-on-one situation with this guy. And he's got to find a way to beat him. So let's see how this plays out here. Now you already watched the play, but let's see. Okay, so there's that. Okay, there's the blocking. Dan Moore's got this guy. Sayamalo's picking up him. McCollum came off the double team, got him. McCormick's got this guy. All right, they're all blocked up. Now it's Najee versus this linebacker right here. Hole's there, so you can do one of two things. You can try to get through this hole right there, or you can try to manipulate the linebacker here and possibly bounce this outside. I mean, look at all this room right there. That's either way, you've got some room. But watch the way Najee does it. Najee will kind of does this jump cut thing here, gets behind Dan Moore to get this linebacker to not see what's going on and then just burst through. That right there is that's genius running right there. That's being decisive. And see, a lot of fans will see this jump, and they get frustrated at Najee. What's he doing dancing back there? Well, there's usually a method to it. It doesn't always appear to be that way, but there is. There is always a method to this. So for him to make this, okay, so he's jumping here, possibly get that linebacker to think that he's going to the outside, right? Because when you see this kind of a jump cut there, boom, that linebacker might be thinking, oh, crap, he's about to cut this to the outside. And so instead, Najee just, whoop. I mean, that's gorgeous. Gorgeous running by Najee there. Next play here, Steelers, I believe, are running duo. Najee does a great job of bouncing this outside. Gets extra yardage with the second effort and third effort and fourth effort. All right, so we got duo. Duo is a gap scheme. So let's just go let's go left to right. Let's keep this right. Okay, Van Jefferson's going to get this guy. Pat Freiermuth's going to get this guy on the edge. You got a double team here. That's what duo is. And then you got a double team here. So it's a pair of double teams. And then Sayamalo needs to go up and come off that double team, get that guy. McCormick's got to come off this double team, get this guy. And then Broderick Jones is going to get this guy. So those are the blocking assignments there. Najee has to read this linebacker here because that's the play side linebacker. Even though Russell Wilson starts off, turning to his right, the play side is on this side. Whoops, change the color there to the offense. That is the play side. Therefore, he has to read that guy. If this linebacker shoots this hole, fills that hole, Najee needs to bounce it outside. Okay, that would be his read. If this linebacker decides to come out here and take away the edge, then Najee just needs to accelerate through that hole. So he is just doing the exact opposite of whatever that linebacker is doing. So, play side, everybody's getting their blocks. That linebacker is completely filling that hole. It's not there. And the Giants defense makes this really, really easy because this dude's crashing inside, this dude's crashing inside. So it just makes it really easy for Najee to just cut this to the outside. Does a great job of that. And another thing, I think I saw a couple of people who were like, this was kind of an unnecessary spin because, by the time he chooses to spin, there's, closest guy's 3 yards away. But the spin move alone actually is really, really smart because it gets him going straight back upfield. And I can't tell you how many times I'm in the press box and watching, whether it's a running back or receiver, where they try to run sideways to somehow get further upfield. This is just literally going straight back upfield because by the time he begins the spin move, he's at the 38-yard line. That left foot's at the 38. And by the time he finishes it, he's at the 34. So he gained 4 yards on the spin move alone. And then because of momentum going forward, he ends up getting inside the 30. And it's a really good run. Not going to complain about that. All right, this is the big chunk run. This is the longest run of the game for Najee. Just a very, very well blocked. Great scheme. Najee takes advantage of it. The only thing you wish from Najee there, and it's just something he doesn't have, is breakaway speed. But you're not going to complain about that run ever. Now, I'm not in the coaching room. I haven't talked with Arthur Smith about this, so I don't know the exact play here. But this might be a variation of wind back counter. But either way, you can see what is going on here. I really like the use of motion using Van Jefferson here because it takes this guy out of the play. Okay? Because you can see the Giants have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys up on the line, 6, 7 guys there, and then this safety is kind of lurking. So you got 7 in the box, and this safety is lurking, so you're dealing with kind of 7.5 guys at that point. And you got to find a way to take him out of the play. And so using Van Jefferson in motion here is a great way to do that. Because Van Jefferson then goes over, and you can see not only does it take the safety out of the play, it also gets this linebacker to move in this direction, this linebacker to move in this direction. And you can see here that this is definitely a counter step by both Najee and Connor Hayward. Because you can see, all right, defense is thinking, okay, everything is going to the offense's right. And, first blocking and everything like that, and the first tracks that Najee and Connor Hayward are on, they are absolutely starting to go to the right. The offense is going to the right. The linebackers are thinking it's going in that direction. And kind of shame on the edge rusher here, this guy right here. Edge rushers need to maintain the edge here, so this is just bad run defense because he crashes so hard inside and completely surrenders the edge there. And by doing that, he leaves this just poor secondary guy all alone. And then, so let's fast forward a little bit here. Okay, so now everybody's on the inside, and now it is literally just Connor Hayward going to go try to block this guy. And then it's just smooth sailing for Najee. Now, I do want you to pay attention to this linebacker here. And watch Darnell Washington. So he's pushing that guy inside. This linebacker is starting to read it. He sees, it's a counter going back the other way. And watch Darnell just barely get a hand on him. Slows him down just enough to get Najee to run through that hole right there and run away from him. This is just so well blocked. Najee running downhill, love it. I think that's another thing is they're getting Najee running downhill, and if you read the article, you'll start to see what I'm talking about when it comes to especially more gap schemes. He is eating right now when it comes to these gap schemes. All right, last one we're going to take a look at here. You can see the Steelers try to kind of run a similar version or a different variation of the same play. But this is just going to show like the way Najee's running right now. You can definitely see, okay, these, both Hayward and Najee are starting off, and then they kind of cut, they're definitely running taking counter steps there. This is almost being blocked like it's duo here, because you got those two double teams, and then McCormick is going to go try and get 53, and then Samuel is going to come off of that, and he's going to get to 45. And I think what they're expecting at that point is for 58 to read this and be over here, and he just gets completely lost over here somewhere instead. Now, big old 97 right there for the Giants. That's Dexter Lawrence. He is he's a problem for offenses. And you can see this, they got that double team. Now, Sayamalu, may have, made that block a little bit more difficult for McCollum. I get trying to knock him off and take away his center of gravity. I get that. And then, if Sayamalu does a great job of coming out here and kicking this guy out. But Lawrence is able to get a hand on Najee kind of early. And then the other thing here, I would really like to see, if this is some sort of duo concept here, I would prefer to see Broderick come off of this and get there, because that to me would make more sense in terms of sealing this edge right there. If you're trying to kind of create a barrier there so that Najee and Connor can kind of run on that side of it, to me it would make more sense if Broderick tried to shove him this way so that McCormick can get on this side of him and maintain that leverage, and then Broderick can come up and get 53 here. Instead, McCormick is the one who comes off, and he's got to come off of that and somehow get around and then get on that side. It seems clunky. So this isn't the best blocking in the world. You can see he's just McCormick here. He's trying to get off that block and get up there and get on the other side of him, and he just can't. And he whiffs. But Najee here, again, the ball was at the 30-yard line. He's contacted by Lawrence early on, maybe at the 31, 32. So, we're talking about getting contacted a yard past the line of scrimmage, a yard and a half maybe. It's not much. And Najee just fights through the contact, and winds up getting 7 yards out of that. That's a heck of a run by Najee Harris. So you can see here, just from these four plays, these four plays they're kind of indicative of what's going on here. They're getting Najee running more downhill. He is absolutely, whether it is through duo or power or inside zone, they are getting him running more downhill. They still run the outside zone, wide zone stuff. You can't run everything straight downhill. You have to have some variation, but they're doing a much better job of getting Najee running downhill. The offensive line is also blocking better running downhill, and the yards before contact per attempt is proving that to be true, because it's more than double what it was for the first 5 weeks of the season, at least in terms of, what Najee's been producing. So what they're doing right now, and granted, these were against 3 defenses that are not good against the run. So Najee and the offensive line should have been running very, very well, but they should have done it against Dallas too, and they didn't. So credit where credit's due. These are 3 teams they should have ran the ball on well, and they did. So we'll see what happens after the bye week when they have to play the Commanders. The Ravens obviously have a very, very stout run defense. How do they run against those guys? We have yet to really see that. So thank you for tuning in to this edition of Chalk Talk. We may or may not do one next week. Depends on what's going on with the bye week and everything, how much content we put out. So continue to tune in. We're going to continue to pump the content out, talk about this football team, 6-2 right now. Hard to complain about that. Until next time, though, we'll catch you guys on the flippity flip.